And welcome to your LSU Football Fix. Today's show is presented by Tramonte's Meat and Seafood. I appreciate all y'all for joining. I apologize for the holdup and the delay getting live tonight. As a lot of y'all who watch this show know, we are due to have a baby on Monday. And my wife needed a little bit of help, and we had a little bit of technical difficulties. That's why we're running late. So I'm not going to waste too much time here. Actually, I'm just going to bring him up. The man of the hour, Glenn Guilbeau. The most emotion from the fan base directed at you. I'll word it like that.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Because I'm not going to be the one who's mean to you tonight. I've already told you that. It's not me. I'm just letting the fans have their... This is the fans' night for this tweet that started it all. Congrats to Florida Athletic Director Scott Strickland for doing what LSU didn't. Not looking down its nose and having the guts to hire a coach from a smaller school like Louisiana. First off, you misspelled ULL, but we'll let you slide on that. But second off, Glenn, why do you hate LSU?
I do not hate LSU. I do like to pick on LSU at times, but feelings about LSU change as the seasons go. Like 2019, there was nothing to pick on LSU about. But that tweet, actually, it's amazing that got so much attention in my mind, because it was really praising Billy Napier and criticizing Scott Woodward. It wasn't saying that he was better than Brian Kelly. It was just saying that Scott Strickland, who I've known a long time, he had the guts to hire a small-time coach, and that's the opposite of what Woodward does. Woodward always goes and gets the big guy, and sometimes that's worked, sometimes it hasn't. Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah.
And Scott takes the safe hire. He hires the established coach, and that's a pretty good strategy. It's not as good as we thought it once was. Still a good strategy it looks like it's going to be a great strategy with Kim Mulkey, right?
Right.
And probably with Jay Johnson and probably eventually with Brian Kelly too. But right now, his best hire of all time is Chris Peterson.
No doubt.
Kelly
You came on my show last year.
But that's really all that was. And, I think LSU fans got mad because Napier won that game over Utah. And then the next day, LSU lost to Florida State. So emotions were high.
No doubt. I love the Chris Peterson hire. He also hired Starkeezy in there, of course.
Yeah, that was a good hire, but he was an assistant at USC at the time. But that was a good hire. In fact, that's about the only football hire he made of a guy who wasn't a sitting head coach. But he
was like a hot name commodity.
Oh yeah, he was definitely a hot name for sure.
Yeah, but then you followed that tweet up with this, which I'm interested in. Truth is, Billy Napier was more interested in being Florida's coach than LSU's, but Scott Woodward still should have interviewed him.
Yeah, you see, now that tweet, that might have been a little misleading. People got confused about that because here's the thing. Napier really wanted the LSU job. There's no question about it. He did a bunch of radio interviews, but that happened before the Florida job opened. So really what I was saying was a what if. If Napier had been offered LSU and Florida at about the same time, like Tom Herman turned down LSU because he rather would go to Texas. I think Napier, and I've been told that Napier would have rather gone to Florida. But if LSU had opened and offered him the job before Florida ever did, he definitely would have gone to LSU. But
now I'm going to chime in real quick, Glenn, because this is important to me. I'm not going to ask you to burn your source. What are you willing to tell people about your source for knowing that Napier wanted the Florida job more than LSU?
Well, first of all, it's not that wild of a thing to believe, okay? LSU people have trouble believing that, but if you look at it from the overview, Florida and LSU are really equal programs. I mean, they've both won national championships in the last several years. LSU's obviously won one more recent than Florida, but Florida won one in '97. They won one in 2006. They won one in 2008. They've been similar programs. They have similar recruiting bases. They're both big time programs.
Well, and that's the speculation on the wall. But what I'm asking is, what can you tell us? Like who told you that? Napier, where'd you get it?
Somebody that was friends with Napier, knew Napier in Louisiana, and he was kind of ready to go somewhere else. I mean, It's not really about LSU. He was in Louisiana for a few years. He's not from Louisiana, and he just saw Florida as a more interesting place to go.
Now I'm gonna put on my
something that didn't happen because he wasn't offered both at the same time.
Now, as sports guys, we don't get to do the hard hitting journalism sometimes, but I'm gonna hit you with a little dig deeper question here. Did this guy were you told this before or after Napier took the Florida job?
Well, it was late last season. It was while he was up for the Florida job. It was while he was up for the Florida job, because before he actually got the Florida job, it was moving toward that.
So this was after LSU had moved on from him. LSU had already
LSU never
moved
Kelly to Napier. They didn't move on from Napier. They never moved to him.
Right.
No. It was late it was before LSU hired Kelly, but it was right before Florida hired Napier.
Gotcha. Okay. Second question. Are you a professional sports reporter? Andrew Donier wants to know.
Well, you can answer that.
Well, look,
Preston, you can answer that. I mean,
I have been known to bump into you at a press box or two, and you may or may not have a lot more sports journalism awards than me hanging right behind you. So, hey.
No, I've been a sports reporter since 1983. And that's the only real job I've ever had, other than being a waiter. But and I try not to be a homer. I try to look at this whatever school I'm covering from an overview and not get too embedded with what the fan base wants. It's about what's really going on, not what people want to be going on.
Oh God, it's hate Glenn Guilbeau night, the most hated journalist in the SEC. Glenn, I don't think you deserve that title yet.
Well, they spelled my name wrong, so they might be talking about another Guilbeau. There's no X. But I'm not known enough in the SEC to be the most hated journalist in the SEC, but it is a goal. That might be something to aspire to down the road.
Yeah, right. You're trying to work for that though, right?
Sure. I've been called Feinbaum Jr. But no, seriously, I don't want to be hated. But, think about it. Fan bases, fans, that's short for the word fanatic. So naturally, those people aren't objective about their school. So if they hear something objective about their school that they don't like, they're going to think it's negative, Whereas if they hear something really positive about their school, they're going to think that that's normal. The truth is in between that.
All right, I have to keep this tweet off screen here because I'm going to censor this, but it's kind of funny, I think. Kind of quiet over there from Glenn, you pathetic, guzzling hobbit at LSU beat tweet. Are you a hobbit? Are you a guzzling hobbit? And I'm not going to say the word before that.
No to both of those. But no, what's funny about that tweet is that I was watching the LSU Florida game because I had to write about it for Outkick. There's certain big games we cover from the TV when we're not on the road. And I was home last week, so I was covering that game from the TV. And I kept thinking that I was going to be getting all kind of tweets as the game went on, but I wasn't the one quiet. The LSU fans were quiet. That the LSU fans did not start tweeting me.
Well, but Glenn,
it was 42-21.
Should they count their eggs?
They were kind of worried.
Should they count their eggs before they hatch, though? You know what I mean? Like, shouldn't they wait until they've actually won the game to talk that trash, though?
Not the LSU fans I know. The LSU fans of 2019 would have been tweeting as soon as they got a lead. But
All right.
these fans were a little more worried, and that's to be understood. I mean, you've had 2 bad seasons in a row. You lost to Florida State this year. You got killed by Tennessee. So they weren't as confident in this game as they were, say, in 2019. But
Glenn,
they really played well.
Are you impressed that LSU's 5-2 after the inherited roster that Brian Kelly inherited?
Yes. He inherited probably a worse roster than Napier did. I mean, it's pretty close, but I would say Napier inherited a better roster. And then Kelly did a good job of filling up that roster in a short period of time. But still, if you're getting that many guys from the portal, number one, if guys are in the portal, that means they're not starting where they used to be. So they can't be that good. It's not like you got a bunch of good recruits. Okay. So, yeah, I think he's done really well. My story today in Outkick is all about how Alabama's loss Saturday has opened up the world for Ole Miss and LSU. LSU controls its standings now. If they win out, they're in the championship game. So I don't think a lot of people thought that would happen this year. So they're in really good shape.
Another tweet I have to keep on the censored back burner here, but I'll read out part of it. The real life Peter Griffin needs to get with Billy Napier to complete his appearance. Any thoughts on Peter Griffin?
No,
it's the glasses.
I've never even met. I met Billy Napier one time, shook hands with him one time. The coach, the bromance coach for me is Saban. Everybody knows that. And the funny thing is, when I listed my coaches in the column back when they were trying to replace Orgeron, I didn't even mention Napier as a favorite. My guy was Lane Kiffin and Lincoln Riley, and I thought Napier would have been a solid hire, but he was not a guy I thought LSU should get.
By the way, I liked both those names you had. You came on my show and we talked about it, and I liked both those names.
Yeah, I thought it was time for LSU to get a true offensive coordinator because they've never had one as head coach.
That's exactly what I was saying. Yeah,
and that's kind of the rage now. And both of those guys are doing real well. Of course, they have probably better. Well, Ole Miss definitely has a better roster than LSU. I would say USC was probably a better situation than LSU, but not much better. He's done a good job over there.
I'll say this: at least Brian Kelly is an offensive mind. He's been a head coach for a long time, but he can call an offense. He definitely can. All right, out of the box. Go ahead.
Well, Kelly is. He's coached on the defensive side too, and he's been a CEO his whole career. And if you think Napier did a good job at University of Louisiana Lafayette, Kelly did a good job at those type schools quite a few times.
Yeah, he did.
Cincinnati. He was at some other small schools. So he's really worked his way up. He's kind of like Maneri, really. Maneri was never a pitching coach or anything. He was a head coach early.
Yep.
And he won pretty big at Notre Dame. But then when he went to LSU, he won bigger. And I think that's what Kelly's going to do.
You think Brian Kelly wins bigger than the 2 playoff appearances and a national championship appearance?
Oh, yeah. I've written that a few times. See, that's what's so funny. People say I hate Kelly. I've written that he's going to win 2 national championships at LSU because I think that's why he came here, because he's thinking to himself, my God, Les Miles and Ed Orgeron won national championships there.
This ought to be a walk in the park for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you win like he won at Notre Dame, more than any other Notre Dame coach since Lou Holtz, then it's not a reach to say that he would win more at LSU, because it's easier to get more top players at LSU than it is at Notre Dame. There's no question about it.
Here's a mean comment. What does a hairdryer and Glenn have in common? They both blow.
Oh, wow.
Not impressed. All right, well, let's see if this one impresses you. Congrats to LSU AD Scott Woodward for doing what Florida didn't and having the brains to hire a coach not from a small school like ULL.
Well, that's pretty good. He turned my sentence around. But I'm going to say what LSU fans were saying before the Florida game. They were saying it's too early to tell. It's too early to tell. But
which
now,
is true. It's still true, by the way.
It is still true. But LSU fans, I think they were worried about this Florida game, so they were kind of getting their defenses up in case they lost. Whereas the LSU fans I know from the past would have been like, "Oh, we're going to beat them," So they were worried about that game, but they won. But yeah, it's early. But that's why I call it the coaching candidates bowl. And I think these two coaches are going to be watched, compared
No
for a
doubt.
long time. It makes sense. They were both hired the same year in the same league and the two schools play every year.
Glenn, who would you have hired if you had the choice between the two?
Oh, between Kelly and Napier?
Yeah, you got a program.
You know what?
A championship.
I would have not had the guts to hire Napier and take that chance because, Florida took that chance with Muschamp and failed. I would have probably gone the safe route out of those two and hired Kelly. For what I just said. Because Kelly won at Notre Dame, he can win at LSU. Just because Napier won at UL doesn't mean he's going to win anywhere. I mean, but he's still a good hire. But I wouldn't hire. He's a good hire because he's young and he's upcoming. He's only 43. He's a rising star. A lot of people wanted him, but he's not the sure thing.
I think there's some things to like about Napier. I do think Napier's a good coach. I just think Brian Kelly was on in a whole nother league. And quoted, Scott Woodward and Glenn Guilbeau did not have the guts to do what they should have done and hire Billy Napier. So yeah, we'll put you in the same league.
That's true. That's true. Well, I just said that. I was
to say, I'm using your words. I'm merging your quotes together. I'm kind of weaving them together there, but it works, right? LSU plays a football game this week, right?
Yes.
They play top 10 Ole Miss. Have you seen the spread on that?
Yeah. The last one I saw was Ole Miss is a 1.5 point favorite. Is that right?
Actually, the last one I saw, LSU's a 1.5 favorite.
Oh, okay.
And it opened Ole Miss 2-point favorites.
Okay, right.
Shifting.
And it's flipped. Yeah, I'm not sure why that would have flipped because that was, just in the last couple of days. But, I mean, that's going to be a great game. I'm covering that game for Outkick. I've only covered one other LSU game this year, the Mississippi State game. But that's the game of the week this week. So that should be very interesting. Ole Miss has got a great offense that's balanced. I'm a little surprised he's as good as he was last year because he lost some good players, but he was able to reload Lane Kiffin. And LSU is they found some confidence. Their quarterback threw 3 and ran for 3. I thought the defense got a lot better, so it's going to be a great game.
Who are you taking in this game?
Oh man.
I knew this wasn't going to be an easy show, right?
I do my picks on Wednesday. I'm gonna pick Ole Miss, but I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm gonna pick Ole Miss in a close game.
And how do you see this season playing out for LSU year one under Kelly? Do you think they finish 8 wins?
Going into the season,
wins?
I picked them to go 8-4. I picked them to go 8-4 going, and I said if he wins 8 games, he's going to be up for SEC Coach of the Year. Now, I think they can beat A&M. I think they can beat Arkansas. I think they can beat UAB. So that's 8 wins right there.
I'm right with you. I'm at 8 wins too. I don't think LSU pulls a win against Ole Miss this weekend. I think that would be a little premature, but Vegas seems to disagree with me. So maybe I'm just overcompensating my bias a little too strong. But I'm right there with you. Glenn, did you want to I know you got to head out here. Did you want to mention your book at all right there behind you? I know you were talking about that before we went live.
Let me grab it for you.
This is his evidence. He submitted it to me to say he doesn't hate LSU, and this is his evidence. Exhibit A.
This took a lot of work on talking about LSU, and so did the story I did today on Aaron and Austin Nola playing right now. But no, this is for sale at AcadianHouse.com. That's a publishing company in Lafayette, and it's going to be at Barnes & Noble in November, and it's going to be on Amazon.com soon as well. So it's a great Christmas gift. Our first printing was 5,000, and we've almost sold 5,000. So there's going to be a second printing. So hopefully everybody will get to read it. It's a fun book. I think people will enjoy it.
Glenn, I appreciate you for being a good sport and hopping on the show tonight, and being a man and coming. When your take didn't look so good, you manned up and
hey, I didn't crawfish.
Responded to it.
A couple of guys on Twitter said I crawfish. I did not crawfish. I went and found the tweets that I said originally.
Yeah.
That's not crawfish, and I was just explaining those tweets.
Hey, yeah,
So,
there. But
it was
you
a
know
harsh
what?
tweet. It was a harsh tweet. There's no question.
Yeah, and look, there was plenty of harsh tweets going your way out there, no doubt. It's been a fun time for you on the internet, I am sure. I appreciate you for coming and working your way through it with us tonight. I would give them your Twitter, but I'm kind of afraid to send them your way
Oh,
at
they
this
got
point.
it. They have
They
it.
got it already. All right, well, that is Glenn. Thanks for joining us tonight, Glenn.
Hey, good luck with the baby.
All right,
Congratulations.
thank you. I really appreciate that, Glenn. It's going to be a fun 7 days for us moving forward.
All right, man.
All right,
Congrats.
night, Glenn. That was Glenn Guilbeau of Outkick.com. Y'all know him from his time at LSU. I didn't get to too many of y'all's comments, y'all, before the show. My wife was having some trouble. Of course, she's, very, very pregnant, and I had to help her out. And then we had a few technical difficulties getting the show live. So I was late, so that put Glenn on a tighter than would have been schedule. So appreciate all y'all's patience, by the way, with that as we got live. I want to talk about LSU Ole Miss. LSU's a favorite over a top 10 team at home. Could this be Brian Kelly's chance to get his first signature top 10 win at LSU? We'll see. Vegas thinks they will. And that is absolutely wild to me. But before we do that, I do want to thank Tramonte's, of course, located at the corner of Jefferson and Airline. They sponsor our show and make it possible every football season. So let's hear from them, take care of our people, and we're going to get right back into it. Dived in talking about LSU Ole Miss.
Tramonte's has meat. Tramonte's has seafood. Tramonte's has much more. Tailgating and homegating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tramontes.com.
And I also want to thank Celebrity Theaters. Remember, guys, they are hosting the LSU Watch Party this weekend. Free cover for all LSU games if you can't get out to LSU Stadium, and $10 specials for Nacho and Coke. Remember, they are locally owned and operated, high-quality theater, renovated with locations in Ruston, Broussard, and Baton Rouge. All right, let's get to some of y'all's comments. There's just so many great comments tonight. Glenn Guilbeau, not to be confused with Glenn Guilbeau. Glenn, my dislike for you started well before that. Glenn's been stirring the pot for many a years. Preston's timing is about as good as Guilbeau's takes. I'm not reading that word. Let's see here. Yeah, guys, sorry I was running late. I was doing my part not to cancel the show tonight after being a little late. Let's see. What's good, PG? Appreciate you, Stephen Miller. Crow pie for this man, Tasha Thibodeau says. All right, let's see here. Golden Boot has all his eyes. I know Pooh Bear's all over this. I know he is. Let's see here. G4B didn't like how Glenn Guilbeau said it was a little misleading. Look. I just want to say, it's really cool. We did get him to clarify and say he would have hired Brian Kelly over Billy Napier. And I kind of went really hard on him digging into who told you that about Napier and when did he tell you that? Made him kind of, give some answers. And, of course, as a journalist, you can't always burn your sources, but I do appreciate him giving what he could. Let's see here. Was Scott even ever pursuing Napier? No, he wasn't. Napier was pursuing him. Dane, you dropped it to a new low having him on here. Dane, you were commenting that all last year too when I had him on here. Great question from Pooh Bear. I appreciate it, man. I thought a few of those were pretty in-depth. Professional by getting paid, but not really professional. I'll say this. He has the journalism I's and T's crossed and I's dotted. he does a lot of the good things in journalism. He just writes some pretty provocative columns. Again, biased. I like Glenn, man. As a person, I run into him a bunch, and he's a good guy. Phillips says I need to get some good guests, like some players or LSU coaches. Nobody wants to hear him. He's as bad as Driscoll. I kind of have a brand here of bringing the hated people in. I did decide tonight I wasn't going to try to debate anybody. Apparently, I'm not very good at the debating part, but just let him present his side. LSU plays Ole Miss this weekend. And Ole Miss brings in Jackson Dart, who on paper has not been as good as Jaden Daniels has. Guys, I went and broke down Jaden Daniels' stats thus far. For a guy who so many people have clamored to have be put on the bench and go with Nussmeier and all that stuff, y'all, he's got 2,000 yards after 7 games. His total yards this year, 1,967. Total touchdowns, 16. He's completing 69% of his passes, and he's had 1 interception. Jackson Dart throwing a few interceptions this year. He's been, productive, but he has not been, on paper, as good as Jaden Daniels. So that does give me some hope. Guys, I still watched that Florida game, and although the offense was clicking on all cylinders, I look at this roster and I'm just reminded of how glaring the holes were that Brian Kelly had to come in and fix. And a lot of those holes he patched with, what's the Billy Mays stuff? The Flex Seal. Bah! The league is stopped. Okay, dog, you're still driving a yacht with Flex Seal on it. You know what I mean? That's what I like in what Brian Kelly has done with this roster. It's getting the job done, and it's very impressive he's at where he's at. But I still think a lot of those holes are going to come to play against a team that's, that's more put together than LSU has. Lane Kiffin's been there longer. It's less the team's playing together as a team better. Now, I did watch the Auburn game. They went up big against Auburn, and they got really, really conservative. And kind of blew that lead, but they held on and got the win. And that's ultimately what matters. How shall I say this? LSU's chemistry, because you've got all that Flex Seal all over the boat, sometimes the pieces aren't playing together very well. And we see that with things like the offensive line having to do all its shuffling. And, at times they're just missing blocking assignments a lot. Hopefully you can get all those guys healthy, but Ole Miss ain't dealing with those same kind of continuity issues that LSU is. I think Ole Miss comes in, and I'm taking Ole Miss by about 10. I think 31-21 Ole Miss wins. Go ahead and throw all your boos at me. Boo me out of here. But I don't think that that's the big picture here, guys. The fact is that LSU is in this game and Vegas has them favored. That's a big deal for this program after what, Kelly inherited. That's just such a big deal. Don't overlook it. Don't overthink it. He'll be all right. Y'all need to go to Tramonte's. Absolute best. Brian, I'm not playing when I say that, y'all. It's really good. Ole Miss has not played anybody and was fortunate against Kentucky. And I get you, Bayou. Bingo. Great comment. Appreciate you for being here. I'm just not there yet. I'm not there yet because this offense has been so inconsistent. It's been all over the place. Florida, it was hot as can be, but Florida's defense is not particularly good. It was really cold, and a lot of LSU still showed flaws in that game. Even though its offense was just smoking them up and down the field, it was still tighter because you're fumbling kickoffs. You're fumbling punts. You don't have a guy who can return. I tweeted out and had to let people know it wasn't a joke. At what point does LSU abandon returning kicks? LSU on special teams is hot garbage. I've never seen LSU special teams. Any amount of return yardage you get is not worth turning over the ball 4 times. Okay, that projects out. Are they really going to turn the ball over 8 times on kick returns this year? You've got a walk-on back there returning kicks for you now. That's problematic, man. That's problematic. Let's see here. Preston, we don't care who he chooses to cheer for. It's his obsessive, cringeworthy effort to push for Napier over Kelly week to week. He absolutely advocated for Napier this season. Okay, so Andy, I hope you enjoyed me kind of pressing him to the point where he said, no, I would have hired Kelly over Napier. I hope that I can't, I can't speak for his earlier takes, but I hope that at least me getting that out of him, make him kind of either backtrack or clarify, whatever you want to call it. That's your job to form an opinion. Worth noting, I don't think he necessarily cheers for anybody. I think, when you're in the media, at least your public face, you're just kind of putting out your relevant thoughts and opinions. I don't think it's really a cheering so much he's doing. Let's see here. With that being said, Ole Miss's style of play, especially their up-tempo rushing attack, could easily put LSU at a disadvantage due to depth concerns. That's kind of what I'm getting at. That's my whole theme here is LSU's got 65 scholarship players. Guys, I've been on the 247 board where the talent rankings, which is a good tool. Don't get me wrong. It's a great starting barometer. But LSU is the only team like in the top 40 with less than, it's like 71 players. And by the way, about 5 or 6 of those are out, including possibly the highest rated recruit, Mason Smith. And a lot of those 5-star guys on there, think about like Noah Kane. He's not giving you any good snaps right now. That's a 5-star on there. So a lot of that talent ranking stuff, guys, it's skewed. It's skewed. And then you got to think about how many of those players are just learning to play with each other, how many depth issues. This roster is it's flex sealed together, y'all. And I think after a while, I think Brian Kelly's going to get this sucker rocking and rolling. I think not next year, but the year after that, I've got my eyes on this team. Just like I said last week, close your eyes and imagine Walker Howard drops back. You've got Will Campbell on your left, Emory Jones, projected first-round draft picks going pro this year, and you've got 5 seconds to pass. And he throws it deep to Shelton Sampson. And now Ricky Collins is coming in the game as a backup quarterback. Just imagine that. Please get Driscoll back on. I'd at least ask what his response is. Driscoll's not coming back on this show, y'all. I'm sorry. I treat people with a certain amount of dignity and respect on this show. I'm not the kind of guy who's gonna, I don't like to just mute you and talk over you and have this just blah. Yeah, I'm not no. And the way he does it, you have to talk over him. I would have had to mute him just to get a word in edgewise. No, absolutely not. He's not welcome on my show again. Yeah, and I promise you, even if I did, he wouldn't show his face. You're right, Fred Wright. You're right. Let's see here. Yeah, that's right. I will go with Vegas over your opinion, Preston. No offense. Please do that. Please. No. Absolutely. You should believe in Vegas, man. Take your hope. You should feel very good about this team. You should go to Tiger Stadiums with these high hopes, pack that freaking stadium up, and ask fans, will your team to victory? Don't listen to me just because I think Ole Miss is going to win. Go make it happen, y'all. Fill that freaking stadium up, Get ready to roll. Preeton G. Thank God you're not on the coaching staff. Did you play football? I would have loved to have you a recruit at Paris where I was a drill instructor. I did play football. I played for Christian Life Academy. Let's see. I graduated. My last season was 09-08 season. We actually went to the state championship. I wasn't a very good football player, admittedly. I mean, I'm only 6'1" and about, it was probably about 280 or so in high school. Wasn't very fast or anything like that. I played offensive tackle, but we did have a very good running back who ran for 3,000 yards behind us. That was a lot of fun. I'm the same. Yeah, I did want Lincoln Riley, but here's the deal about Lincoln Riley. If you are not interested in that, if you are afraid of the SEC smoke, if playing in the SEC every single year is not a plus, like it's not a benefit of the job to you, need not apply. LSU is not a job for guys who like to hide on the West Coast with their 5-star quarterback and get beat by Utah at midnight. No, this is primetime action. You're going to get that heat. You're going to catch, you have one rotating SEC opponent, okay? And you're going to catch Tennessee the year they're number 1 in the country, or should be number 1 in the country. That's what you get at LSU. You're going to play Alabama every single freaking year. Okay. All the SEC West coaches they're going to invest $10 million a year to get the best freaking coach they can to beat you. On the recruiting trail, you will be rewarded greatly with a plethora of in-state talent that has been recruited to your school from the time they were born. I will recruit my son to LSU starting next week as soon as he comes out, because that is the gosh darn culture in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the whole state. That's why you come here. You come here to find the best, greatest, most elite athletes in the country and go beat the best damn teams in the country. That's why you're here. If you want to go beat up on Washington and Washington State and play all these garbage games at, Pac-12 after dark. Oh, look, you beat Colorado in a 3 overtime thriller. It was 72-64. Go do you, man. You're not built for this job. You got to be built different. You got to be built different for the LSU job. That's my rant on Lincoln Riley there. Let's see here. I don't feel good about this Ole Miss game. I don't see LSU winning this one. Yeah, that's good. It's more or less how I feel. LSU wins going away, 45-28. Boy, that would be a big, big step. Christian Life Academy at Point Capiz Central. Doug Williams was my head coach this year. There you go. Hey, 2 different Christian Lives. Well, I was Christian Life Baton Rouge. Let's see here. Does Williams go over 100 this weekend? Ole Miss rush defense. You got to hope. But I'm probably going to predict that instead of Williams going over 100, my bet is it would actually be Jaden Daniels who goes over 100. That's just my guess. Because LSU can't establish a consistent running game, and a lot of that 100-yard rushing performance was on one run of 50 yards by Josh Williams. But I do owe Josh Williams an apology because I've been hating on him all preseason. I said, he was part of the depth problem at LSU because him being your 3rd or 4th back is not as good as your typical 3rd or 4th back. Obviously, he's been much better than that. And he's been your best back. I mean, straight up, you got 2 5-stars on your roster, and he's been better than them. Before I go on, I want to thank Dead Soxy for making the show possible. Of course, y'all see the socks hanging behind me. Really good socks. They do have some new designs launched on their website, including the purple and gold collection. Link in the bio of this show. Also, the show description on our website, wherever you're watching this at. We do have a link to go there directly. To find the new purple and gold options, head to deadsoxy.com, select Team Colorways under the Collections tab website, and sort by your favorite colors. Be sure to use the TigerBait code, TigerBait, at checkout, and you get 25% off your order. If they're doing any kind of promo like Christmas or Thanksgiving, anything like that, you're also going to get that. So just make sure you hit the TigerBait. Guys, this is how we pay our bills. Use that code, support our show. Go show them some love. Use this link and it'll take you directly to the page to get the best socks you've ever owned. And guys, they have socks like these, the thick ones. Make sure you check in to make sure that so these socks behind me are the dress socks. Okay, good dress socks. They've got the silicone dots on the top to make sure they don't ride down your legs. Here's your thick ones in case you want to a little bit thicker padding to use it outside of the office. They have footy socks. I mean, really anything they make is going to be a really good quality sock. Just go check them out. I promise you'll enjoy them. They've got some really cool new designs. They have the Tiger Slash that just came out. Guys, go check them out. Josh Pate says LSU wins against Ole Miss this week. I agree. Well, I mean, look, there's a lot of people picking LSU this week. There's a lot of people. It seems premature. It seems premature. I still see a lot of LSU's flaws. What happened this week? LSU's offense just performed at an otherworldly level, a level we haven't seen from them this year. And I know, like, okay, 5 out of 5 of your other Power 5 opponents, you had slow starts on offense. Against Florida, you've got a rapid fire Elon Musk rocket speed start. And the odds still tell me, okay, well, either they've turned the corner and this is what they're going to be moving forward, which if that's the case, if LSU plays on offense like they did against Florida, defense keeps on doing this thing, and somehow, some way you fix the special teams, LSU can beat Bama. I'm not really exaggerating on that. Like, LSU could beat Bama. LSU could run the table. I don't think that's just likely. I think that we're still going to see special team struggles. I think the offense is we're going to see some clunks again with this offense. And I don't think this offense is necessarily built to take advantage of what Ole Miss gives you. Denley Nelson. BK is my guy, Preston Guy. BK wants that smoke. Tell Mike I saw him in the gym trying to get his guns like mine. I'll let him know. I didn't know you were working out in the kiddie section with Mike over there doing, the 10-pound dumbbells, but hey man, whatever works for you. Don't let anybody weight shame you at the gym. I mean, just because Mike Scarborough likes the kiddie section doesn't mean you have to like it. But yes, that's my point is Brian Kelly, he wasn't afraid of that smoke. He wasn't afraid of it. He wanted, in fact, that was part of his motivating factor for Brian Kelly is his brand had kind of been revolved around, not beating the big guy. He wanted it. He has lots more chances other than Alabama in a playoff format to prove it. And that's what he went for. Where did the 3K running back go after high school? His name was Shane Andrus. He played for Southeastern in 2008, and then he went on to South Alabama. Grades and size were kind of an issue, but if y'all look, man, if you're ever interested in hearing about just YouTube Shane Andrus, I'm telling you guys, I have not seen very many players as good as Shane Andrus. He was one of the best players I've ever freaking seen, man. Are they made in China? Let's see. Yeah, but okay, who cares? They are made in China. All right, let's see here. LSU 51, Ole Miss 38. Need some LSU trick plays. On special teams, you might as well at this point, man. I mean, like, just line up all 11 to block. You cannot afford to turn that ball over. Now, hold on. I didn't say LSU will beat. I'm saying if LSU's clicking on all cylinders and they fix special teams, they could. They definitely could. LSU beating everyone. Look, all right. Y'all heard it from me. Preston laid it out what you got to do to run the table. Take off the blinders. LSU is not beating Bama. Yeah, I think that would be I think that'd be premature to get 2 back-to-back top 10 wins. That would be just wild that Brian Kelly has this program in a position to do that. By the way, if LSU does run the table, y'all, you do realize like they're in the playoff contention, right? Like they're going to win the SEC West if they win out. And they're going to go to the SEC championship against either, an 11-1 or undefeated Tennessee or Georgia. And we'll see. That's a lot of wins, guys. That'd be remarkable. And look, the tight end reverse against Bama was one of the greatest plays ever. Yes, it was D'Angelo Peterson, 2010. That was a really good, but they basically like did their entire game plan just for that one play. Like they were running this, Stephen Ridley left, Stephen Ridley right offense. and then faked it to Stephen Ridley. What you think the whole defense is doing? Oh, psych. Tight end reverse. But that's a good point, is think about this. This tight end depth is not where Brian Kelly wants to be. That's been a major reason. One of the reasons this offense has been clunky, because Brian Kelly loves the dink and dunk 5, 6, 7, 8 yard passes to the tight end to kind of give your quarterback some easy throws. Well, Mason Taylor has not been a consistent catcher of the ball, and neither is Cole Taylor. No, I don't think they win this week. No, I think Ole Miss wins comfortably. I think 31-21 Ole Miss wins. But I'll tell you what, if they're wrong, if I'm wrong, I want every single one of y'all in this show. Probably not next week. I think I'm taking next week off because the baby's due on Monday. So I probably won't be. I'll be taking a week off for the show. We'll be lining up. Mike's gonna run the show for a guest host next week. He'll be pushing all the buttons and all that good stuff, so y'all can tease him in the chat. But I won't be here next week, but someone will. And you can come to my show, I'll be the next week or week after that. Depends on how things go with the baby. And y'all can come. I want y'all to annihilate me or tweet me. Annihilate me if I'm wrong, because I think Ole Miss wins 31-21. Dink and dunk is boring to watch, but you know what? It gets your quarterback comfortable. It gets him in the zone. It gives you that continuity of offense. You can't just take deep threats every time and complete 40% of your passes. Your offense is going to be clunky. The problem is if you're taking those short dink and dunk passes and you're not taking the shot downfield, you got to actually catch those balls, y'all. You can't throw 4-yard passes and have them dropped. Like, that just makes your offense turn into a clunker. You know what's never a clunker? A catering or homegating meal from Tramonte's. Remember, guys, if y'all go out there and do a catering order, most catering orders will run you $200 or more. That if you do a catering order of $200 or more, you get a free $25 gift card at Tramonte's when you mention TigerBait. Make sure to go out there. They got ribeye rolls, 30 kinds of meat and sausage. They do the lunch deli. They're located right behind Jefferson Airline. And look, guys, don't ask me, ask the commenters. Okay, I'm serious. Every show someone comments about how Tramonte's is legit, it's good. You've never heard one negative comment, one negative experience, and there's a reason for that, guys. It is truly the best. Good meat ain't cheap, cheap meat ain't good. Let's hear from them, and then we'll wrap up the show.
Tramonte's has meat. Tramonte's has seafood. Tramonte's has much more. Tailgating and homegating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tramontes.com.
Thank you, Tramonte's, for making our show possible. Y'all please go support all of our sponsors. It makes everything we do possible. I'm definitely wrong. Hey, look, I'm not rooting against them. I promise you. I know, let's see here. Congratulations on the new edition. Thank you, E-Dub. I appreciate it. I'm excited. I'm very excited. I'm ready for it to just be here and be done. I kind of don't want to wait anymore. Like when you're preparing all the stuff, like you got to build a nursery, you got to get new carpet, you got to make sure you have the stroller and put the car seat. You kind of like are hesitant, like, oh God, thank God we got 3-4 more weeks. I'm done. The hospital bag's packed. I'm just waiting. I want it to happen now. Ole Miss has no idea what's coming. I see an ambush. Now, Bill, here's the deal. They do know what's coming, okay? They just got a wake-up call against Auburn, and they just saw LSU go up 42-21 before coasting to a win against Florida. Ole Miss is well aware of what LSU brings to the table. I don't see that happening. One of the things that was overlooked was that Tennessee came to Death Valley a week after a week off. Now, that's true. They had a bye week, and that was one of the things I told everybody is this game – I kept on saying, this game's got bad juju. I don't like it. I don't like the 11 a.m. kickoff. I don't like that Tennessee's getting hot and healthy. I don't like that it's they have a bye week and LSU's playing. Everything about that matchup, like everything about the setting of the game stunk to high heavens to me. And I knew they were going to get clobbered. I didn't think LSU was going to come close. I told y'all on the show it wasn't going to be close, and it wasn't. It was worse than I imagined. Tennessee proved it scores points against Bama. Yeah, no, here's the deal. Tennessee's a lot better than we even thought they were going into that game, and the setting of the game was a major disadvantage, and you're not going to have that against LSU. Congratulations on the baby. You will need patience and attention to details. Sleep when the baby is sleeping. Thank you. I'm going to Death Valley for the first time. We better not lose. Congratulations, kiddo. It's an experience. Hopefully they give you something worth watching. Perkins better stay in the field. Here's the deal about Perkins, y'all. He's by far your most talented and athletic linebacker out there, and he is a straight up beast, y'all. You see he was a game. By the way, that was a strip sack against Florida. Absolutely was. BS call they overturned. He doesn't have the playbook mastered yet. They have like a special playbook just for him. So he doesn't have it quite down pat yet. So you kind of have to, you limit him, and they want him playing in positions he's comfortable in. And yet that's what you want for a true freshman. So good on the coaching staff for recognizing that and getting a formation that works for him. Guys, I appreciate y'all for watching the show. If y'all missed the mean tweets with Glenn Guilbeau earlier on, make sure to watch this. If you want more people to see Glenn Guilbeau eating his crow and admitting where he was wrong and all that good stuff, that we had fun with him on the show, make sure to share this show. Hit that like button and share it to Twitter, Facebook groups, whatever it may be. Share this show out there. I enjoyed having Glenn on. I hope y'all enjoyed seeing him on here. Maybe I should have been a little meaner to him, but not my style. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have an excellent night, and go Tigers.